Please, Professor Wichsová.
Okay, thank you so much. My name is Jana Wichsová, and I would like to present you international project Erasmus Plus, key skill management in operating room, in which participated me and my colleague Jana Škvrňáková. I would like to say that the perioperative nurse who is focused this project is a highly specialized profession that requires staff at a very high level. Perioperative care is developing extremely dynamically, which places considerable demands on all professionals who participate in it. That is also why the second International Erasmus Plus project, focused on the skills of perioperative nurses, was dedicated to this profession. Only a competent perioperative nurse can guarantee I am sorry. Can guarantee the effective patient care with a minimum of post-operative complication. This project took place between 2016 and 2019 and was focused on education of perioperative nurses and evaluation of it. On the project involved 5 members countries: France as a principal investigator, Belgium, Finland, Greece, and Czech Republic. The team members met regularly. On behalf of the Czech Republic, the project partners was the University of Pardubice and 3 medical facilities. The respondents of the research were perioperative nurses, currently working in operating theaters, who were divided into 2 groups for the purpose of the survey. In the first group, there are nurses with experience in operating rooms for 2 years or less. The second group had experience in the operating room for more than 2 years. The answers were always verified by the operating room manager or trainer. The respondents filled the multi-skills questionnaire, and the answers were verified by the manager. All respondents and all managers finally completed a short evaluation of the user friendliness of the questionnaire survey in terms of scope, content of activities within the expertise, comprehensibility of questions, time consuming, etc. Finally, the whole project was evaluated during a focus group. All respondents and all managers finally completed a short questionnaire survey evaluation of the user friendliness. There you can see the 8 questions of it. There is some results of this framework, and the project output was The partners of Erasmus project, with the help of OR professionals, produce electronic tool. This tool will serve to OR nurses and head nurses to evaluate the professional skills of OR personnel. It accompanies the computer application. A lot of countries have no mandatory specialized training for OR nurses. Because of that, the e-tool helps staff with mastering procedures in the first 2 years. Also makes easier formal integration, regular professional evaluation of employees, planning of continual training. Erasmus ASMOR project showed the importance of perioperative nurses' education and evaluation of their skills. The results revealed that the problems of perioperative care are similar in all partner countries. The discussion about the definition of optimal level of OR nursing skills must continue through the countries with high standards of perioperative nursing care as a goal. With the e-tool, it would be easier to measure level of competence. The project gives us a clarification of a required assessment of it and efficient discussion between OR nurses and managers. Moreover, intensive teamwork enrich all team members with new experience and contacts. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Professor, for this very interesting presentation. Professor ALLUSHI, please.
Yes, thank you. Hello to everybody. I hope you all are well in these conditions, in this situation all over the world. The title of my paper, as you told before, is Rehabilitation, its effects on 2 cases of patients with multiple sclerosis. My study is a case report study. I have a problem with my share screen, so I will go on with the presentation made in the way as the professor made before to me. I can say some words as an introduction about multiple sclerosis. It is a chronic neurological disease with an unpredictable course, and it has an unknown cause and various symptoms. Rehabilitation in these patients is focused on the treatment of the injuries, disabilities, and deficiencies. Doctors and nurses usually use medication treatment, while a team of healthcare professionals collaborates to minimize the effects and the impact of illness on disability, handicaps, and quality of life. Rehabilitation is an important part of overall management of the disease from the time of diagnosis up to the death. The aim and the objectives of my paper is to evaluate 2 concrete cases that I have studied. These patients have MS, so multiple sclerosis, and I make this study to identify the possible effects of the positive overall physical rehabilitation in patients with MS, so multiple sclerosis, where this therapy is used compared to pharmacological treatment alone. In this case report study of 2 cases of patients, the method that I have used is to collect useful information comparing the positive effects of physical rehabilitation was the interview, so face-by-face interview conducted with these 2 patients for 20 minutes for 3 days from 25 up to 13 March of 2018. We contact with both patients in hospital, and all the ethical issues were strictly followed. So the interview was conducting, assuring the family that the data was to be used strictly for study purpose and not for any other reasons. The main part of the interview consisted of their disease, types of therapies that the patients have made, the information of rehabilitation process, and the types of physical therapy exercises. Now I'm going to represent in a short way the 2 cases. The first case I called Mr. A was diagnosed with MS when he was 13 years old. He has had a rapid onset of the disease, and I met the patient when I was conducting the study in the hospital of Vlora in Albania. The patient is 38 years old, male, single, with high school education. He lives in a village and has been unemployed for a long period of time. He is hospitalized because of urinary incontinence and difficulty in walking. According to the family member, before being diagnosed with MS, the patient used to be very strong, full of energy, and took care about his family members. The patient always states of being very tired, with tired legs, loss of balance, disease, also urinary incontinence. He said that he has never made any physiotherapy sessions, and he has been hospitalized for a period of 5 days. He has done some lab examination. And when I asked him about the physiotherapy, he told to us that he has been advised since the diagnosis to start physiotherapy session, but he didn't start the therapy because he lived in a village and his economical status wasn't so good for helping them in this situation. The patient is not able to walk anymore, does not attend any physiotherapy treatment, and the actual psychological situation in the family and the financial problems do not help this condition. The second case I called Miss B, was diagnosed when he was 17 years old. Her first sign of MS was double vision. These signs happened again after 5 years, and it was when she learned the name of the disease. Initially, she was treated with cortisone, and as this time interferon was not used in our country in Albania. In 2008, she started to have difficulty in walking and other problems such as anxious state, tiredness, and finally ended up in a wheelchair. For 3 years, she was treated in Germany, combining medical treatment with a rehabilitation session. This patient is a rheumatological doctor, and she stated that the physiotherapy session has a very positive effect in her condition, stopping the disease from progression. She refers that every week she communicated with her physician for additional information about rehabilitation. In the first year, she presented all the complaints and was recommended a medication for 1 year. During the second year, she was advised to stay without medication. And the third year, the doctor asked her to tell the team what had changed during all this time. She refers that the situation was
Professor
very...
ALLUSHI, try to conclude. 1 minute left.
Okay, thank you. So this was a tableau that I can make about these two our passion. As a conclusion, I can say that the comparison highlighted the positive effects of physical rehabilitation. So a continuous message of feet, arm, neck, muscles, the use of small balls to move the fingers, combining with the pharmacological therapy. That was evidenced by the fact that the first case due to combined treatment has tolerated and lived with the disease for 23 years. So the condition of the second patient is extremely precarious because besides all the pharmacological treatment, the patient does not carry any session of physical rehabilitation. So I can say that these two cases can give to me how this physical therapy helps our patient. I hope that this presentation has been in the right way, and I want to say thank you to all of you.
Thank you very much. We will move on to the presentation of Mrs. Cătălina NECULAU.
Hello, everybody. I will start sharing my screen, hoping it works, and seems like it works. My name is Cătălina NECULAU. I will try to be very short because I know the time is running. My presentation is about stories in the medical field from a sociological approach. I'm interested in this field because I worked as a nurse many years, and now I'm trying to find out the ways that can be helpful for being a nurse, like the way we develop our professional identity and the way the things we are experiencing as students in nursing is influencing our professional identity. So these are the keywords for my presentation. Why stories? I will skip the definitions, but I will stick to the idea that constructs are instruments for people to find meaning, to construct their social reality. Social construction is being focused on the significant stories where the most important is the process of getting sense and not the construction itself. I found a very interesting idea about stories, and I will go straight to this idea of two-sided process of stories, the stories which are told and the stories which are lived. And the authors are saying that stories told are the one to make sense of the world and tame the terrors that go bump in the night. Well, it's an interesting idea. Of course, there are many ideas about the stories we are telling. Most of the persons who are working in narrative therapy are saying that we are choosing the most significant stories for us. I would say just some words about the roots of narrative therapy, because narrative therapy, it's a method which is linked to social constructionism. There are some studies about that, and Besley is the one who studied a lot about and wrote a lot about this development of the narrative therapy. And it's influenced by Foucauldian philosophy. And what's interesting is that the ideas of Foucault influenced the not only therapy, but other areas in social sciences. But in narrative therapy is the idea that the dominant discourses in community affects the way a person is seeing herself, involving her identity and her sense of being in the world. So we can say that narrative therapy is a postmodern form of therapy, being placed in the social constructionist domain of social psychology. This is what Besley is saying. Friedman and Combs are saying that post-structuralism, it's not like an antagonist of structuralism, but it's like a consequence. And they are saying about some experiences of the students who were in a place where there were poor people. They were labeled like primitive people, and being there, they realized that the stories are more important than the including people in categories, which is a way like structuralism is doing, like places people in categories. Okay, I'm trying to be fast, and I hope I am also efficient, and it's getting sense what I'm saying. I would say just some principle of narrative therapy. It's through stories that we give meaning to the events of our lives. Stories have real effects and are shaping our lives. The stories of people's lives are socially constructed. Stories are only partial descriptions of our lives. People's lives are multi-storied. And I will stick to that idea that connections via our stories is sustaining our preferred identities, which it's linked to the need of being in a community and sharing our experiences. Some ideas of social constructionist perspective in research. Reality is multiple and multi-leveled. Reality is dependent on the context of inquiry. Reality is continuous influence by the observer. Reality is subjective, the result of negotiations of meaning. And why did I put those two together? Because it's normal to have similarities, between narrative research and narrative approach, because they come from the...
Cătălina, 1 minute left.
Oh, sorry. So I'll go straight to what I wanted to... this is scaffold used in narrative therapy about what they call intentional state of identity, MAP. And it's interesting that it's a question and a challenge, like how it would be to use this scaffold to understand, for example, the professional identity. What kind of hopes, of wishes, of dreams, or principle of a person comes and influence the professional identity of the students who are working in the field, in the medical field, as practitioners, of course, as students. Well, the main idea is that the narrative approach as a therapy or as a research method is placing the person who is the interviewer or the researcher or the therapist in the same position of being curious about finding out the story. And I think there might be some, let's say, not techniques, but things we can use in research as a method. And I'm sorry I had to be so short. I left some ideas, but I hope it makes sense what I tried to say.
Thank you, Cătălina NECULAU, for a very interesting presentation. I'm sure you will have a very interesting PhD thesis. Thank you for all the participants